araw. I am Mariana Castro.
And I am Arjan Rojas. And for today, yung ating episode ng podcast natin is recorded lang siya. Kasi taga North Cotabato ang ating guest for today. Isa siyang education program supervisor from DepEd. And i-share niya yung thoughts niya about sa bill na inisya na Senator Win Gatchalian na
Nagtatanggal sa mother tongue as a mode of instruction ng pagtuturo sa mga bata. From kindergarten to grade 3.
So, ayun, i-share niya yung kanyang mga challenges and kung ano yung mga thoughts niya about sa bill na ito. So, tara!
Let's talk!
Good evening po, ma'am. Welcome to our podcast. I am Arjan Rojas, together with Mariana. We're excited to talk about this topic with you po. Kaya tara, let's talk. First po, please introduce yourself. Where are you from and ilang years na po kayong nagtuturo?
Currently, I'm in 27 years of teaching experience. And yung tinuturuan ko po, yung mga grade levels are, nung previous are kinder and grade 6.
Ano po yung position nyo ngayon sa school po?
I'm currently an education program supervisor of DepEd.
Ano po yung duties ng position nyo po ngayon?
I'm in charge of the developing of and quality assurance of the learning resources in our division.
Next question po. Ano po yung mga na-experience nyo throughout your teaching career as a supervisor and a teacher? Meron po ba kayong masishare na highlights or stories?
When we talk about experiences, syempre, with my number of years in teaching, ang dami na po nangyari, di ba po? Pero ano pong particular na ang gusto niyong experience na may share ko sa inyo?
Siguro po yung mga experience yung with handling kids and yun nga po, sa nakapagturo na po ba kayo ng language subjects?
Of course, it's part always of our subjects. Like sabi ko na kanina, I was a kinder teacher and I was also a grade 6 teacher, handling all the subjects in grade 6 and handling all the subjects in kinder during my time in those grade level. And so, yung extreme kasi yan kinder at saka grade 6. So, I really have a comparison between handling little kids na talagang wala pang alam about the basics of writing and reading, and with those supposedly nasa grade 6 na mga bata pero they're still struggling. So I have a lot of experience since I was assigned in Farplang Barangay. So lahat ng mga experiences ko ay nakalimutan ko. Grade 1 teacher pa pala din ako. So after the kinder, I went to grade 6 and then nilipat ako sa grade 1 because my principal learned na I had an early education unit. So, nilipat ako sa sa grade 1. And then, when I left the school to be transferred to a nearby school in our house, I was given a task to be the grade 6 advisor. So, yun. Yun yung mga experiences ko. But, for some highlights of the story. Gusto niyo ng highlights? As a kinder teacher, I can say na it's because that time when I was in kinder, it was only a volunteer teacher. Wala pang kinder teacher noon na regular teacher. I was one of those volunteering for kinder. I mean, merong isang private school na nag-adapt sa school na public, and then they provided the materials and the technical assistance for the new teacher in kinder, and that was me. But my salary was taken from that of the parents that time. Matagal na yan Pero this time naman, iba na naman yung kinder teachers natin because they're already regular teachers. Pero sa time ko, yung mga parents ang nagbabayad sa hindi naman matatawag yun na salary, but it's only an honorarium. Kasi 20 pesos per bata yung binabayaran ng mga parents that time. So if I have 40 kids, that's my salary for 1 month. And yun. So parang voluntary services lang siya for 1 year. And after that, I was given an item. So naging grade 6 teacher ako in a far lang barangay. And that was my career or the start of my career in DepEd. So, extreme din kasi kung dun sa kinder ko, ang dami ng provisions because siguro hindi naman well-off yung parents pero nakaka-afford sila to pay for my honorarium. Pero dun naman sa bundok, nahihirapan kahit pambaon ng mga bata. So, there are times na yung estudyante ko, umiinom lang ng tubig, pangtawid sa tanghali. Yung mga ganun. So, I was the one, there are times na yung baon ko, hinahati ko para makapakain ako ng mga estudyante ko. But, it was a fulfilling task at that time kasi dalaga pa ako that time. And when I left that school and be transferred to a school nearby our house, it's a different story already because, syempre, if you're handling learners na nasa community, the same community with what you are living with, so mas madali mong matouch yung stakeholders to support you and yung services na nare-render, mas nag-e-extend ka ng time kaysa dun sa malayo. So, yun.
Aware po ba kayo dun sa parang bagong act po na discounting the use of the mother tongue as medium of instruction from kindergarten to grade 3 po?
Of course.
Ano po yung naging reaction nyo dun sa act po na yan?
Yung 12.027 ba yung ibig mo sabihin, Public Act?
Yes.
Discontinuing the use of mother tongue or the previous one, 10.533?
Yung discontinuing po.
Ayun, yung
discontinuing the mother tongue. 12.027 ng Republic. Aware po, of course, because we're in DepEd and we are the first one affected with that Republic Act.
But tapos ano po yung reaction nyo dun sa Republic Act po na yan?
Actually, mixed emotion because ours here is not that kagaya ng nasa NCR na Tagalog yung medium of instruction. Ours here is we are on the Cebuana, Sinugbuana, Vinisaya, and our people here are talking in the mother tongue, yung Cebuana talaga na language, yung conversational namin na language is really on the Tagalog, on the mother tongue namin na Sinugbuana, Vinisaya. However, of course, as an educator, nahihirapan kami because ang hirap mag-bridge ng mga bata, lalo na pag nasa higher grade na sila. When they learn, they learn fast with using their mother tongue. Tama? However, in the classroom, kasi parang nag-uusap-usap lang kayo. Nagkakaintindihan kayo kaagad. However, when these kids turned to be grade 4 or in the higher grades, they had a hard time coping with the subjects having the Filipino language as a medium of instruction. And so, nahihirapan yung mga bata at the same time yung mga teacher because they need still to translate. Happy because, of course, pagpasok ng bata sa kinder hanggang grade 1, the medium of instruction now, starting 2025 to 2026, as stipulated in our DepEd Order number 20, series of 2025, on the policy of the medium of instruction for kindergarten to grade 3, that is effective for this school year, Ang medium of instruction po is nasa Tagalog or nasa Filipino and English, in which universal na siya. Kahit saan ka pupunta, it's already the medium of instruction that will be used. And kids will learn to adapt this language. And hindi sila mahihirapan pagdating nilang grade 4 or on the higher grade levels. However, tasking siya pagdating sa task ni teacher because they still have to go back to the main language or the mother tongue of the learners pag hindi na nila kaya intindihin yung mga words. Yun po.
So, napansin niyo po na saan po mas mabilis yung pagiging literate po ng bata? Sa multilingual approach po ba or dun sa English-Tagalog approach lang po?
We are still going to look into that, the result of this year. Kasi wala pa naman, di ba? I mean, may result na tayo ng sa multilingual. Previous years, yun na yung gamit natin. But for the Filipino as a medium of instruction, ngayon pa lang tayo nagsa-start. Nung July lang po. So, hindi pa masasabi na may impact kaagad siya or makukuha na natin yung result because it's only July, August, September, ilang buwan pa lang po. So, we are still on the first quarter of the school year. So, katatapos lang natin ng first quarter, hindi pa masasabi because we will be able to know that at the end of the school year after the assessment.
Tingin nyo po paano po iniiba ng mga teachers yung strategy nila pagdating po sa pag-iba po ng mother tongue or yung language ng pag-i-instruct po?
Sir, pakiulit po kasi naputo konti.
Sige po. Ano po yung tingin yung iibahin ng mga teachers sa strategies nila sa pagtuturo po knowing na ayun nga po parang iba na po yung mode of language ng instruction po nila?
Actually, currently, we are facing a problem on reading, numeracy, and literacy. If you know that, alam niyo yun. Hindi lang dyan sa inyo sa NCR, but eventually, nationwide yung problema niyon. Even in our division, last year pa, we already know na mababa. After the pandemic, ang baba po ng result ng PhilErie namin, ang baba po ng result ng mga test ng mga bata, especially on reading and numeracy and literacy. So, last year pa po, nag-come up kami ng idea on strengthening our reading program, and in our division, we are having now, or we launched last year, the Enchanting Pages, in which we advocate reading to all the learners from the school level up to the division level. And currently, we are now on the second year of implementation. So, we are implementing that Enchanting Pages side by side with our other school reading program. In the Enchanting Pages, we have a lot of activities designed for learners to read and of course develop more of the different activities that would develop their learning, especially in the reading comprehension and reading skills. And may mga contest kami na naka-design. But of course, the reading program of every school is also implemented. Kanya-kanya silang style, kanya-kanya silang diskarte kung paano nila mapabasa yung mga bata. They have their program. They designed it well that every child would be given the opportunity to read and to develop their reading ability. And after implementing that last year, we found out that we have a lift, ang taas po ng lift ng reading comprehension ng mga bata at saka yung mga series of test nila. Pero it's not enough. It's not yet enough because we know that reading is a skill. And so this year, 'di ba, nationwide naman yata, alam niyo naman po na may ginawa ang government natin about the aral program. And so now we are conducting series of activities. Currently nga po, kung wala itong interview na to, I would be going to a school to monitor their conduct of their oral reading that is implemented starting today. It will go until 8 weeks na program ni DepEd for all the learners who were not able to get a good score in the GST. Alam niyo po ba yung GST na sinasabi ko? That's in the PhilErie actually. Po?
Ano po yung GST?
GST is actually part of the PhilErie activity that during the start of the school year, all learners were given the same type of test, reading test. Sa PhilErie yun eh. Tapos, binibigyan sila ng test in a group. So, they are group screened. After that, when the learner get below 14 score, they will go to another program. Okay, so yun naman nakakuha ng 14 and above, they will go to another reading program din. Pero we consider them as already as readers on their grade level. So may mga bata kasi na although grade 3 na sila, pero their reading ability is still in grade 1. May mga ganun po.
So, tapping on that po, ano sa tingin yung dapat pang i-prioritize ng DepEd sa early childhood education?
In the early childhood education, DepEd naman is providing us with a lot of materials like for the activities, learning activities sheets of the learners, provided po yun ni DepEd. Siguro ang pagdating naman po sa mga storybooks, ang dami din naman po ang ibinaba ngayon sa DepEd ng mga storybooks for our learners to learn. And I think capacity building lang ng mga teachers. And to include also capacity building for the parents. Kasi yung kindergarten naman is side-by-side activity or dapat pagtulungan ng parents at saka ng teacher. Hindi yun solely nakaatang sa balikat ni teacher ang lahat ng mga dapat ginagawa doon sa learning ng bata. Kasi yung learning niya inside the school dapat na re-reinforce pagdating ng bahay. That's why I'm telling you that there should be a collaboration between the school and the home, the parents.
Speaking of parents po, ano po yung tingin yung reaction ng mga parents po tungkol po dito sa bago pong Republic Act?
Mixed din naman yung reaction nila because there are parents na yung mga anak nila sa bahay, they are Inglesera, they are using the Tagalog in their house, and most of the time English talaga. Kaya nahihirapan yung mga bata din na using the mother tongue. But in our place, konti lang kasi Inglesero dito eh. Mas maraming mother tongue yung gamit. Kaya may makakausap kang parents na ang sabi na, yes, wala na si mother tongue. Kasi nahihirapan sila before because it's really one subject. Pero ngayon, it's only a reinforcement of the mode of instruction that is utilized inside the classroom. Pag hindi naintindihan ng bata yung English na word, ita-translate ni teacher sa Filipino. Pag hindi pa talaga niya naintindihan, sa kanya ita-translate sa mother tongue. In which, baliktad yan sa nangyari noon. Nauuna si mother tongue bago ita-translate sa Tagalog and then later sa English. Pero ganun pa din, whether it's nung noon na mayroong mother tongue at saka ngayon, pareho pa rin ang ginagawa ni teacher, tina-translate niya pa rin. Kasi kailangan maintindihan ng mga bata yung certain words in their mother tongue. in Tagalog and in English. Ako, dumaan ako ng kinder. Talagang ginagawa namin yung translation na yan. Even before K-12, even before this pagtanggal ng mother tongue, ginagawa na din yun. Kasi hindi pwedeng iwala mo yung isa. Because the usual conversation of the day-to-day activity inside the house and outside, din sa labas, ay, di ba, gagamitin mo kung ano yung akmak. At pag hindi mo naintindihan, kailangan mo i-translate. So, yun. Mas mahirap pa nga sa mga IP schools kasi I was assigned also to IP school. Pang-apat na beses mo yung ita-translate because you need to go to their mother tongue. Like, yung school na na-handle ko before was an Obo Manobo school. So, pag pinakita mo yung aso ay yung picture ng dog, sasabihin nila, Toyang. Ay, ang layo naman dun sa dog na gusto mong marinig na answer. Kasi ang sasabihin ng bata, yung mother tongue niya. Ang alam niya yan, Toyang, which means dog. So, ito sasabihin, sige, sa inyo, Toyang yan. Sa Tagalog, aso. Sa English, dog. Parang ganun. So,
pag sa identification po na picture tapos isusulat po yung tamang sagot, kino-consider mo po ba na tama po kahit apat po yung tamang sagot?
Depende sa subject yun noon eh. Noon, kasi may mother tongue, kailangan sa mother tongue mo siya isusulat. Pero this time, kasi Filipino at saka English na lang. So, ang sabi naman is, ang mode of instruction is English and Filipino. But if ever the child would answer in their dialect, verbally, tatanggapin naman. And even in high school, pag nahihirapan yung batang mag-express ng sarili nila sa English or sa Filipino, when they will answer you in their mother tongue, you have to listen and to translate or accept it and then translate. Parang gano'n.
So may ganun pong mandate?
Ay, nandun sa MOI na kailangan ng i-translate ni teacher if ever. Or i-accept mo yung answer ng bata. Bawal kasing paghindian mo siya sa kanyang mother tongue. Pero, kailangan mo i-translate into the dialect that should be used inside the classroom. Ano naman ang mas importante? Nagkakaintindihan tayo or one side lang yung nakakaintindi? Kasi, there were time when I was a grade 6 teacher, syempre, ang medium of instruction namin that time was English in mathematics. So, I keep on talking on using the language in English and explaining my lesson. Pero at the end of the lesson, wala nga yung mga bata ko kasi hindi nila naiintindihan yung ibang words na sinasabi ko. So, it would be better to translate some words on their dialect para magkakaintindihan. And then, sample, tablecloth. Wala namang tablecloth ang mga bata. Kailangan, may mga bahay na walang tablecloth. Ewan ko sa'yo. So, di ba? Let us face the reality. Magpapa-measure ka ng tablecloth ng kanyang perimeter. Hindi nga alam ng bata yung tablecloth. Paano niya mabivisualize yan? Kailangan may pakita yung anong mukha ng tablecloth. At saka sasabihin mo, ito yung nilalagay natin sa ibabaw ng mesa para matakpan yung mesa. Parang ganun. Kailangan mo isabi on their level bago dadalhin mo sila sa higher level para makuha mo yung gusto mong mangyari. Pag sinabi mong measure the perimeter of a tablecloth, nakasulat yun sa pisara or nakasulat sa slides, tapos di mo na ipakita ano yung tablecloth, kailangan mo i-unlock yung word na tablecloth sa kanila para maintindihan na, yun pala yun. So, alam nila yung perimeter, alam nila pagkuha, pero hindi nila na-visualize yung tablecloth. So, pag hindi nila na iintindihan yung word na tablecloth na yun, di sila makakapagsagot ng maayos.
Okay, last question na po. in the long run po, yung pagtanggal po ng mother tongue as a mode of instruction po, sa tingin niyo po ba nakaka-epekto po ito sa language conversation and preservation po?
I don't think so na makaka-affect siya sa regional languages because the regional languages are very strong already. It's embedded in every region. Punta ka ng Iloilo. Yung Iloilo, yung mga tao sa Iloilo, nagsasalita naman sila ng English, but the tone, malalaman mo na Ilonggo sila. Diba? Because embedded na yun. Kaya gaya sa amin dito, we are Cebuano speaker kasi nga mix kami. We know how to speak Ilonggo. Some of us know how to speak the Ilocano kasi nga ang daming mga migrants dito sa amin. However, the fact still remain that when we face each other and talk about some things, hindi naman kami nag-uusap ng Tagalog except on, of course, kailangan ko mag-Tagalog kasi hindi niya naiintindihan yung sinasabi ko. So that's the time na we will be using the Filipino as a language that is universal or the English one. Pero built-in na yun sa bahay yun ang gamit yung regional languages natin, yung mother tongue, kumbaga. Kaya nga sinabing mother tongue. Kasi yun yung, pagising mo sa umaga, yun na yung naririnig mo. Pag nagkamulat ka, yun na yung naririnig mo, kwentuhan, usapan sa loob ng bahay. That's your mother tongue. At yun yung ginagamit natin daily.
Okay po. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and insightful answers. Meron lang po kaming maliit na request po sa inyo.
Yes.
Pwede po nyo kaming turuan kung paano po mag-thank you sa isang regional language po?
We are here in Bisaya. Bisaya kami. So, nag-thank you. Daghang salamat.
Pati po yung goodbye po. Ano po yung goodbye sa dialect nyo po?
Goodbye?
Opo.
Anong gusto mo? Sa Bisaya? Kasi kami, we're using the goodbye also or bye-bye or kasi mix nga kami, we can understand a lot of language. Pero kung gusto mo ng goodbye sa Bisaya, paano ba namin sinasabi ang goodbye? Paalam kasi yan sa Tagalog, di ba? Hirap. Teka, dali lang. Kasi, ang dami kasing, baka mahirapan. Teka lang.
Hindi, kaya po natin yan.
Kaya po, challenge po, challenge. Parang challenge na lang din po sa amin.
So, challenge ako din sa goodbye. Pwede ba teka lang. Pinag-isipan ko tuloy. Maayong hapon when God is. Good afternoon. Goodbye is, we usually use the bye. Parang ganun lang kasi. Pero may talagang term yun autonomy or autonomy or autonomy. Paalam. Pero iba yun. Iba ang meaning nun. Aalis ka. Kaya ang hirap. Kasi pag sinabi mo kasing autonomy, that's goodbye. Paalam. Pero kailangan mong umalis. Pero ngayon naman, hindi mo na kayo aalis.
Alas lang po kami saglit.
So, kung ganun po, Ma'am Hazel, daghang salamat.
Wow, kuhang-kuha.
Daghang salamat po, ma'am.
Thank you. You're welcome. And
paano po you're welcome?
Welcome. Ano bang welcome sa, kasi you're welcome sa English is pag sinabi mong thank you, maraming salamat. Daghang salamat. Pag sinabi mo daghang salamat or thank you, usually ang sinasagot natin you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Diba? Thank you, you're welcome. Di ba ganon? Ang sagot. Ngayon, ano ang Bisaya doon? Kasi iba pag sinabi mo na you're welcome sa Bisaya, pag ita-translate mo talaga siya sa Bisaya, mangyayari yan, maayong pag-abot. You're welcome.
Maayong pag-abot.
Oh, pero mali yun. Magiging mali na. Kasi maayong pag-abot, it means to say, you are, ano ba?
Parang thank you po sa
pagdating mo, so maayong pag-abot, dayon ka mo, yung mga ganon. Di ba nahihirapan kayo? Kaya ang hirap pag ita-translate natin yung verbatim, yung regional languages into Tagalog. Like, sa inyo, ang aso, dog. Sa amin, ang aso, pero iba ang ang aso, yung dog ninyo, yung dog na aso ay nagiging iro sa amin. So, ang daming differences. Kaya, dapat din nating pagyamanin pa yung sariling language ng mga regional languages natin. Hindi dapat yun iwaksi. Dapat mas pagyamanin. As much as we wanted to know or to communicate better in Filipino and in English, dapat di rin natin kalimutan yung sariling atin. Kasi doon tayo mas makikilala at magkakaroon ng sariling identity. Okay. So, thank you for the time nga you really invited me. Parang nibigla lang ako doon sa invitation na yon. Sorry. Ano usapan? Bakit Republic Act? Pero thank you kasi nabigyan ko din ng linaw yung mga bagay-bagay on the part of the parents, the teachers, and of course, magkakaroon kayo ng idea na although it's good, kasi pinag-aralan yan eh, hindi naman basta-basta na i-amend yung batas na yan without undergoing series of review. Ni-review kasi yung K-12 curriculum. Pagkatapos nun, of course, may mga findings sila na nahihirapan because syempre naman, ang nangyari kasi, chichismis na ako. Nangyari kasi, merong national assessment na ina-assess ang mga bata sa grade 3 in 3 dialects. Those are the dialect in the mother tongue, and the Filipino, and in English. And it was found out na nahihirapan ng mga bata sa dialect dun sa mother tongue. Kasi, kagaya sa amin dito, we were using the mother tongue na sinugbuhan ng Binisaya. And that's from Cebu. The materials that we are using that time came from the Cebu development team. Okay yun sa kanila kasi taga Cebu talaga sila. Kami dito is a mixture of a lot of languages. May Ilocano kami, may Ilonggo kami, may mga IP kami. So, ang hirap nung binabasa namin na sinugbuhan ng Binisaya na taal na from Cebu na ginagamit nila doon with our kind of Cebuano dito na mix. Kaya nga sabi kasi, hirap ba naman nung pinapasabi niyo sa akin na goodbye. Kasi kami dito, yung goodbye talaga. Bye. Parang ganun. Sige, uwian na, bye. Pero, sa kanila, may certain specific talaga sila na word para doon. In which hindi namin ginagamit dito. Pagdating sa aklat, nahihirapan din kami. Pagdating sa assessment, nahihirapan yung mga bata because they're not used to that language. Kasi in every province, iba-iba yung ano niya, yung dialect na ginagamit.
Yun, ma'am. That is the end of our interview po. Thank you for your time. And naliwanagan po kami ng sobra dun sa mga sinabi niyo po today. Kasi po, meron pong mga misconceptions na pag discontinued na po yung mother tongue, sabihin po nila, bawal na magsalita ng mother tongue. Paano yun? So, naliwanagan po talaga kami.
Hindi naman ibig sabihin na na-discontinue yung using of mother tongue as a subject, wala na siya. Kung titingnan niyo sa bagong curriculum ngayon, yung mother tongue as a subject, wala na siya kasi duplication siya. Duplication siya ng ibang mga subject areas, so tinanggal siya. But, still, nandun pa rin yung kung kailangan ng bata na maintindihan yung salita kasi ang medium of instruction na lang natin is English and Filipino. Dalawa na lang. Pero kung kailangan ng bata na maintindihan yung salita, yung sinasabi natin in English and in Filipino, pwede naman natin i-translate sa Bisaya because kailangan yung bridging. Yung pagbi-bridge, hindi kaagad na sasampa na lang sila diretso sa kabilang dulo na wala namang tulay. Kailangan ng tulay para mas makapunta yung mga bata na yon papunta sa kabilang dako. That's the Filipino and the English medium of instruction. So kailangan pa rin yung bridging. And even in high school, they're still allowed to use the mother tongue if they cannot express it in Filipino and English. Wala, natin yun taal na wika ng mga tao yun. So, hindi mo pwedeng tanggalin sa kanila. But we need to have a common understanding and common language, and that is English and Filipino. So, thank you so much, and sana marami kayong natutunan.
Opo, ma'am. Daghang salamat.
Daghang salamat. Grabe. Sige, daghang salamat.
Salamat
Thank you po. So yun na nga, sana may napulot ko yung bagay sa ating episode today. Maraming shinare si ma'am about sa experiences nila sa North Cotabato and about din sa Bilden na ayun nga, nakapag-apekto ng maraming grades 1 to or kinder to grade 3 na estudyante. Ikaw ba marami gusto ko bang sabihin?
Yun lang. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. You can follow us at Tara Let's Talk 1611 on Facebook and YouTube. And ayun, sana subaybayan nyo pa rin yung podcast namin till the end. So, ayun na. 1, 2, 3. Tara, let's talk!